Hey everybody, this is Bill over at Whole Life Soaps in Ryewood, California, and today we are back with Can You Soap With It? This is episode 5, and for those of you who have been enjoying this program, we appreciate your patronage. I'd like to throw a little shout out to Butter is Pro. Thanks for being one of our first subscribers. If you don't know who he is, he's a neat kid who live streams video games, and he's awesome at it. So go check out his Twitch or his Instagram, Butter is Pro, because he's spreading positivity like butter because he's cool like that. And then I'd like to also thank Aaron and Pablo for today's suggestion, because they said, hey, can you soap with Gatorade? You know, we all know it as a thirst quencher. It's good stuff. This one is the berry one. It's kind of like cherry. I love it. But we are going to soap with Gatorade today, okay? I took some of that red, and believe it or not, red turns this light yellow. I have another one that's already going, so I can kind of speed up our process a bit, and I used the blue Gatorade. I used the Fierce Intense Blue Cherry. I'm going to save this bottle. Don't worry, the one I drink out of I'm not using. But I'm going to use this bottle as a mold, and we're going to make a Gatorade soap out of a Gatorade bottle using Gatorade. Okay, so let me walk through what we have here. So we have our palm oil here. We have 13.2 ounces of that. We've got some castor oil. I believe that's 2.5 ounces of castor oil. 2.4 actually. Let me get all that in there. We have some olive oil. We've got 2.4 ounces of that. Let's get all of that good stuff in there. We have some coconut oil. This is 4.8 ounces of coconut oil. Coconut oil, when it falls below 76 degrees, turns into a solid, just like this. There's also 96 degree coconut oil. So if it gets below 96 degrees, it also turns solid. But I like to use the 76. I think it just is nicer, it's less refined. And then we're gonna have some good old Manteca lard. This is from pigs, ladies and gentlemen. I don't do a lot of animal products in my soap, but because today we are not doing cold process soap, which is what you've seen me do in the past, because we're doing a hot process soap instead, lard tends to work better in that process. It creates for a clearer soap, and it gets harder in the end as well. Because what we're going to be doing is using a crock-pot, and we are going to do what's called hot processing of our soap. Now normally I would just stick these oils in the crock-pot and let them sit for an hour and let them cook. But today, with the magic of video, I can snap my fingers and gotta love video, as promised, melted oils. Now normally I would go ahead and pour these into my crock-pot. But I'm not going to do that because I want you to see how this blends together. You want to get this to a super thick trace before you start to hot process this soap, and then I'll show you what the other one looks like. But basically, I'm going to add in my lye. So remember, this was the berry flavor, the red one, and it turned this yellow color. So it's not going to have a yellow hue. I mean, it's not going to have a red hue to it. I would have to color it to get it that color, and I probably will. But let's blend this up. Keep going, it'll thicken up pretty quick. That's the one nice thing about using a little bit of lard or beef tallow or some other animal fat in your soap, is that it comes to trace pretty fast. Like this is already at the normal trace mode that I like for cold processing. still pretty thin. You know, and if I was going to put this in a regular soap mold, like what you've seen me do in the past, I would go ahead and dump it in, but that's not what I want. I want thicker. Making a mess. I don't want to put my finger in that later. One other thing too, if you're already a soap maker, you might say, hey, weren't those oils really hot since you decided to melt them in the microwave? You know, and generally when you mix your lye and your oil together, you want them to be about maybe 100 degrees apiece. You don't want real hot mixtures. When you're going to hot process in a crock pot, it doesn't matter because it's going to cook it at 160 or 180 degrees. So you can go ahead and mix away because you won't get any badly behaving soap with this. It'll just do what it does. I'll show you badly behaving soap if I have any, but see, now it's getting more like the consistency of vanilla pudding. I don't know if you can see that from where you are, but it's pretty darn thick. And that's about where we want it. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer this to a crock pot, which I just happen to have handy. It's like watching a food show, isn't it? Everything's prepared and ready to go. So you're just going to put it in. Just like that. Let me set this over here. And you're going to set your crock pot for 3 hours on high. So turn it on. So that's at 3 hours. You can cook it a little less. I've done this with 2 hours before, but you really should do it for about 3. You're going to want to cover it and let it do its thing. Okay? So let me bring up the other one. Okay, so this one has been cooking for a while. Let me put it on a towel. Okay, so this one's been cooking for a little while. Ooh, look at that, it is hot. Okay, and you want to cook this until it hits what they call the translucent stage. And when you look at this soap, around the edges, it should basically be kind of clear, okay? Now, I used a lot of palm oil in this. Palm oil doesn't seem to like to get as clear as other soaps. But what we're going to do is make this soap absolutely see-through. And to do that, we're going to mix it with a combination of glycerin and a combination of alcohol, okay? So, let me measure some stuff out here. So, I'm going to take 120 grams of glycerin, which is roughly, that's about 2 ounces. This is just vegetable glycerin. You can get it at any health food store. I buy mine from Essential Depot. Hey, you guys want to sponsor me? Okay. Put in a little bit too much, but you know, it's a solvent, so it's not going to matter. And then I'm going to add alcohol. This is Everclear. Everclear used to be 151 proof in California, but Californians voted against having such high alcohol, so this is 60%. What you really want is an alcohol that's at least 70% or higher. You can use isopropyl alcohol. It tends to leave a little bit of a smell on the soap, but I am going to use it because I want to make sure that this product gets absolutely clear, okay? So I'm going to add 300 grams of alcohol. I'm going to zero out my scale and start measuring from scratch. Okay. And grab a whisk. What did I just say? I have everything prepared. Haha, I was kidding. So it's alcohol and glycerin. Just mix them together. They're not going to react chemically or anything like that. And then I'm going to get a fresh blender, because what we're going to do is we're going to add it to our soapy mixture here. Now, the nice thing about doing a hot process soap inside of a crock pot is that all the lye gets cooked away. There's no lye left in this soap. I could use it right now, except it's probably so hot it would burn my skin. But it's absolutely safe once it's done. So we're going to add this to it. Do this in a ventilated area or have a fan going, because as soon as you start to add it, it's going to start breaking down the soap. And I hate isopropyl for the fumes. I'm just going to add a little bit at a time and get it kind of chunked up. Yeah, I should take my own advice, get a fan. Anyway, mine's not on at the moment. Okay. So I'm going to bring it over to the camera to show and set it on the table so you can see what's happening. Okay. Okay, so basically, as you can see, I've got these chunks in here. I'm going to go back with the blender and break all that up and get all that broken up so that we have nothing but clear soap like what is already at the side, because that is now soap. That's about as good as it's going to get. I'll call up my blender here real quick. Hopefully those pieces will break down with the alcohol. I may add just a little bit more. Just going to wing it. Okay, and then what you're going to do you're going to cover the entire mixture with plastic wrap so that the alcohol does not evaporate. And you're going to cook it for another 30 minutes. Okay? So, and I'm going to let that alcohol and glycerin start doing its magic. Okay, so I got the timer set for 30 minutes. Here we go. See you back in a half hour. All right, folks. Okay, so the half hour has passed and I went ahead and strained the soap because when you are clarifying soap, it does get some particulate matter in it from the fats of the soap. Some things just don't dissolve, so you just gotta run it through a strainer. But I'm gonna bring this up close to the camera so you can check it out. I mean, look at that. That is all soap, and when it cools, it's gonna harden. And right now it's still warm, but I'm gonna have to work quickly. Let me grab something. Skewer's my friend all the time. I want to try to darken it so that it looks like this. And this color is similar. It's a citrus orange. We'll see how it holds up. It's not a whole lot there. It was a tester that I had. And we'll see what it looks like after it cools. I'm also, because it doesn't have any smell because everything's cooked off through that hot process, I'm adding kind of a fruity scent to it. This is like a melon berry scent. Now, notice that when you add colorants and scents to soap, they're not as clear when you're done. Now, I could throw this back in the crock pot, add more alcohol to it, and clarify it. I could also add, well, I did add when we were gone because I needed to get it done. It was a mixture of hot water and sugar, 2 to 1. So it was like 4 ounces of water, 2 ounces of sugar. I made a super saturated solution and added it because it's a solvent as well, sugar, and it helps to pH balance the soap as well. A lot of the times you would also add citric acid, but luckily for us, Gatorade already has some in it, so we don't have to worry about that, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and mold this. Ooh, it looks like orange Gatorade. I don't wanna make too many bubbles, because bubbles will turn into soap and they'll be unpleasant looking. But I do have a solution for bubbles. 1 second. Again, my trusty friend alcohol. And look at that, bubbles are gone. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to throw the Gatorade lid back on top. Wow, that actually looks kind of cool. We're gonna see how it turns out in a day or two. It's gotta harden up. I'm just gonna let it sit right there. Hopefully one of my employees doesn't come in and try to drink it. Although nothing will come out in about an hour. So anyway, this is Bill McConnell, Whole Life Soaps. This is episode 5 of Can You Soap With It, where we tried Gatorade. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Pablo, for the suggestion. Again, go check out Butter is Pro for some video game advice. He's pretty awesome. I'm a pretty avid gamer, so I like to watch all that stuff. Currently doing Red Dead Redemption 2. It's fun. Anyway, just one more score. I guess that's it. And I'll also have the reveal for the dill pickle soap up soon too. So thanks for watching. Peace.